From AIT Studios in Abuja, Nigeria, this is the O&M Late Show with Obiora Ilo and Mamode Akuga.
Very quickly, Obiora, campaigns are on. We're seeing a lot from two parties. Of course, we know that there are several other presidential candidates. Nobody's hearing from them at all. But at least the two major political parties, PDP and APC. But I'm worried, Obiora, because the campaigns are becoming very dirty.
I'm worried
and
too.
And very morbid, if I may say so.
I am worried too, and with the peak of what some people call rascality,
yes,
was the advert we saw on the Punch
and the Sun, yeah,
and
the front pages,
the front pages,
yes,
and an advert taken out by the governor of Ekiti State, yes, Fayemi,
yes,
insinuating that we may see someone die at the State House.
Or rather, we have had enough of state burials. In fact, the bottom line from that advert is that General Muhammadu Buhari at 72 is too old and may not be able to go through a 4-year tenure.
Well, many Nigerians think that he could have said it in other ways. He didn't have to take out that advert and say what he said.
Yes.
And I think that...
And the way he said it,
the way he said it. And I think that when you occupy a certain office, even if before you occupy that position, you behaved in certain ways.
Yes.
An office should moderate your behavior.
Should temper your...
I mean, should temper your behavior. So
exactly.
For me, that advert was in bad taste.
And also, not just from Governor Fayose, we also have to talk to our colleagues as well. They also need to moderate on what they accept as adverts, especially at this time, so that generally we can moderate the levels of campaign and keep it at a level that is decent.
And bring down the temperature.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because where is our social responsibility as media people? There are some messages that we can't just accept, no matter how much.
Yeah, it's been paid for it.
It's been paid for it. What Ayo Fayose signed in front, I mean, in the cover
of the Punch
of those newspapers was in bad taste. I hope everybody takes a cue that Nigerians, we think we've gone way above that kind of behavior in politics.
And nobody can really say when anybody's going to die. Anyway,
it's enough, African.
Yeah, enough said. Well, on our program tonight, funny enough, we have the immediate past governor of Ekiti State with us in the studio, Governor Kayode Fayemi, and we'll be talking to him today on a wide range of issues. Of course, he's a stalwart of the APC, and we'll be talking to him about the elections, preparations, campaigns, and a little bit about Ekiti State as well, and his time as governor there.
Oh, yes. And we have media guru, media consultant, journalist, programmer, Ide Gebo. Ide is in the studio with us and is just going to be with us in a moment.
Yes, also talking some issues about elections. And if we have time much later, we'll round up the program taking a look at a movie from Nollywood that promises to be a blockbuster. We'll tell you all about that much later.
Well, Mamode, if what we saw in the clips that we were shown,
yes,
if what we saw is what they are going to put out there, yes, then I think we have a blockbuster.
I think so.
So don't go away. Your show, the O&M Late Show, continues in a moment.
I am Mamode Akuga. For almost 3 decades, have been involved in broadcast journalism, with the better part of that time in the gathering and production of news and news programs. I'm proud to have pioneered weekday morning news talk show on Nigerian television, first with AM TV Live on DBN television and later with Kakaki on AIT.
I am Obiora Ilo. Over 30 years ago, I started my career at Radio Nigeria. Over these long years, I've presented several programs and interviewed hundreds of guests, men and women, the big stars and the not well known. the rich and the poor, politicians, movie stars, journalists, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as they say. You just name them. I've also covered events across the world, from Europe to America, from Asia and back to Africa, bringing first-class reports.
Now, together with Obiora, I will be coming to your screens 2 nights a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, with the O&M Late Show.
From 6th January 2015, Mamode and I will be bringing our decades of experience to bear on our new talk show, the O&M Late Show.
In our careers, we have blazed many trails, and we are thrilled and ready to set new records with nighttime television. The O&M Late Show.
Your late night catch-up.
Yes, and we get down to brass tacks now. Our first guest for tonight on the O&M Late Show is former governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi.
Your Excellency, good to see you again.
Good to be here, Obiora.
Welcome.
Hey, Mahmoud, how are you?
I'm fine.
Thank you. This is rather late.
That's why it's called the Late Show.
Is this a David Letterman show or
something.
Serious late night show?
Yeah, we're turning the night belt around on Nigerian television.
You believe that too many nocturnal Nigerians out there who don't
very,
go to
very
sleep?
busy people like you can do all your political meetings and then
During
sit
the
down and
day.
watch the O&M show.
No. Some of us go to bed in decent times. Anyway,
All right.
It's great to be here, and congratulations on the show.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I was just wondering, you get into the studios here. Have you tried out a filling station? But maybe it's been quite a while since you stopped by to fill your car, with fuel. But 10 naira has been knocked off. Have you done some buying yet?
I filled my car today.
You did it yourself?
I do it myself.
That's
What's wrong with that? You seem to be
we're just-
surprised.
No,
that-
we're just
yes,
thinking.
we're just
You were just thinking, I know that.
Yes, 10 naira has been knocked off. I'm aware of that. But if you do the maths,
Okay.
it doesn't quite add up.
How do you mean? Yeah.
Well, if something used to sell for 97 naira and the pump price is reduced to 87 naira, that's 10 naira difference. But in most climes, the reduction has gone to up to 50%, if not more. I mean, I was in a couple of countries around December, and I know that in the United States, the pump price has gone from about $4 to about $1.50, max $2.
But I think we have some.
And in our own case, it's good. We should commend the government for doing it, but it's too little and too late, because the reduction in oil price started way back in November.
Yeah.
As they say, better late than never.
Well, you could say that, but it's too little and it's too late, and a lot more could be done to really assuage and relieve the Nigerian public that are at the receiving end of these difficulties.
Yeah, what would you suggest? I mean, if 87 naira for you is a little bit too little, what would you suggest?
You see, the truth of the matter is that there is actually no subsidy. Again, we can go into that argument. That's a separate matter. With what we have on the ground, to all intents and purposes, subsidy is actually the Nigerian public now subsidizing the oil sale. As far as I can say, I think it really ought to go down for it to measure up to the fall in oil prices. It ought to go down to something in the region of about 50 naira.
Okay, but of course, that would take us to many other things. Why we didn't have our refineries running and all that.
What we're going to be doing about that when...
But people in government are saying that the fuel that is being consumed in Nigeria is actually imported. Finished product is imported. And then it comes with its own cost. Maybe if our refineries were running, then we can get a maximum relief from the drop in oil prices.
Why aren't our refineries running? That's why we're saying go back to the man who actually built the refineries in many cases. So why aren't they running? I still think if we want to have an inclusive economy and inclusive growth, that would be the way to go. And we would reassure those who either build the refineries privately or who enter into joint venture initiatives with government, that they will not be undermined by those who are bringing in refined products from outside. Right now, it's not attractive to anyone to want to build a refinery because government is not doing enough to guarantee that they would not only recoup their costs, but also make some reasonable profit at the end of the day. And we cannot run our economy on imported refined products. I don't think it's the way to go.
All right, just now I wasn't too sure whether you were just expressing a straight opinion or you were campaigning when you said go back to the man that built the refineries.
Facts are sacred, opinion is free.
I think you refer
Who builds
to Buhari, I'm sure.
Well, I'm not referring to anybody. A certain gentleman was petroleum minister in this country between 1976 and 1978. And during that period, refineries came up.
Yeah.
Reps ipso loquitur as lawyers.
You rest your case. All right. The candidate the party has presented is a little bit too old.
And he's even afraid he may not survive the presidency if he's voted in.
How would you react to that?
Actually desecrate all that is decent about human life. Then we ought to condemn it in the strongest of terms. I haven't had even elements within his party, particularly at the highest level of his party, condemn him. So my own clear assumption is that he's actually carrying a message for the leadership of his party.
But the party has disassociated itself.
Yes, I saw Fayemi Kayode
from the advertorial.
Distancing himself from the advertorial. But you know, again, that's a little too late. That advertorial was carried yesterday morning.
Yeah, Monday, yeah.
Fayemi Kayode came on this evening to dissociate itself. A clear 36 hours after that those adverts appeared in the Punch and the Sun. And quite frankly, when you sit down and spend, how much does a wraparound cost? I mean, you are the guys in the industry, 20 million or 25 million naira in a state that you told Nigerians you met a debt in. Is this the most judicious way to spend state resources? I'm assuming that it will claim that
it might be a private funds.
Oh yeah,
because it's signed in his own name.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Totally private funds, and it's very well within his right to spend his money the way he deems fit. But we're talking about the message.
Yeah.
The messenger is not really that surprising to some of us. There's nothing that Fayemi has done that is strange to those who know him well. That is the only way he knows how to behave. But such conduct is not acceptable in any society that considers itself decent.
Okay, you insinuated.
No, because it's an assassination plan. You may be aware that as of this morning, the APC in Ekiti actually came out with a statement uncovering plans by Fayemi to send people to attack General Buhari's convoy on Saturday when it comes down to Ekiti on campaign. I hope the security agencies are going to be alive to their responsibilities in dealing with that, because all over Ekiti now, Fayemi and his goons are going around tearing Buhari's posters. That's part of his own practical way of demonstrating his loyalty to his boss in Abuja. But I believe the security agencies, except they're in cahoots with him, would have to really come out and dissociate themselves right from the level of the National Security Advisor. Because you cannot, on the one hand, sign a peace accord and celebrate that. Kofi Annan was there, Emeka Anyaoku. These are people who have standing in the international community. And you bring them to legitimize a process, and the very minute they turn their back, you have elements within your party behave in the most irresponsible manner to really undermine that peace process itself. Because if you say, I mean, consider the logic. When a Northwesterner, so-called, becomes the president or head of state in Nigeria, it's automatic. The person must die. So, was he the one who killed Murtala Muhammad? Was Ayafawashe the one responsible for Yar'Adua's death? And people who don't come from the Northwest, they don't die in office? Is that the sense? And when you're 72, you can't be president? I can count on on a go the number of presidents I know who are older than 72. When did Nelson Mandela become president in 1994? What age? 73. Right now, Hillary Clinton is about to enter a race. At what age? 68. Ronald Reagan became the president of America at 69. You have people who are agile, who are fit, who are more mentally alert at 70 than many 40-year-olds that you see walking around the streets. And I'm afraid, I'm sure General Buhari is far more mentally alert than Ayafawashe.
Okay. Governor, you insinuated that there were some claims of not meeting money in the purse of Ekiti State when Ayafawashe took over.
So he claimed.
Tell us, you're here with us. What did you leave when you left office? And I mean, like you said, the truth is sacred. Why is there a debate about it? Was there no handover notes?
There is no debate. Well, you talk about handover note to somebody who really is alive to his responsibilities. The handover note left for Governor Ayafawashe was not just extensive, it was detailed with copious materials on the state finances and other things that happened in the 4 years that I was in office. And I had asked my brother, the governor now, if there is anything untoward that happened during my administration, he should feel free to challenge it or to probe it. And I have also made it clear that I am prepared to make myself available to answer questions posed by such a formally constituted judicial or administrative inquiry. I think it's a whole load of nonsense when somebody says, oh, the state has been left prostrate or broke because we took a bond from the capital market. Of course we took a bond from the capital market. I don't know any serious government that does not borrow money. We borrowed 25 billion when I was in office. But what we did with the 25 billion, everybody could see it. The Security and Exchange Commission had commended Ekiti for the diligent implementation of the projects that we went to the capital market to borrow money for. And when you know that we're not exactly an oil-rich state in Ekiti, what we were able to achieve with the limited resources we had in 4 years would place us in the higher echelon of states that really performed in office during our time.
So how is life outside office?
Pretty comfortable and exciting. You know, once you don't take yourself too seriously in office, once you don't get carried away by all the superficial honorifics, Your Excellency, Mr. Governor, all the retinue, the convoys and all those things, it'll be pretty easy for you to lead your life out of office. I haven't suffered any withdrawal symptom, let me put it that way, because I didn't run my life in office as if there was no tomorrow. I ran government in the most sane manner you would expect anybody who has pedigree, who has the right education and exposure would do. And I didn't go around clearing people off the road, blaring sirens in my 4 years in office, intimidating people, beating up judges in court, and harassing citizens of the state. So I go into Ekiti. I'm in Ekiti every weekend, as busy as I am now, and I'm just having a time of my life.
Your Excellency, you know, you had a wonderful campaign, and you were running your campaign based on your records.
Absolutely.
And you were not the only one surprised when you lost the election. A lot of Nigerians were surprised. Tell me how you felt that night when you discovered that you had lost the election to Fayemi.
How I felt? Well, in any race, there would always be a winner and a loser. I did not go into the election to lose. I was disappointed. I was, I felt it was mysterious, and by the way, I still feel it was mysterious.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, you will know what I mean as things go on.
Time would unfold all that.
Time would unfold all that,
so
and history would be the judge of.
So you felt
what
it was mysterious?
Of course, clearly, because you see, if you don't think the Ekiti election is mysterious, then we would be digging our hole in this democracy. We would be really legitimizing a process that is devoid of a correlation between performance and reward. That's the way I see it. Yes. Performance in the sense that if you say that somebody has been in office, he's done well in office in spite of limited resources. What you expect clearly is that
he would
scale through the hurdle
for a second time.
For a second time, if he chose to go for a second time. But if that doesn't happen, then you're saying, look, forget performance. Stuff the people. You don't need them. Just warehouse the money, and nearer the time, start sharing the money.
I think
when you share the money that way, then the reward is almost
the votes. There were people who said that the magic and what made that election, the results of that election mysterious, was the fact that Fayemi believed in quote, stomach infrastructure, and you don't.
You know, the story of stomach infrastructure, ironically, I coined the term stomach infrastructure. Fayemi did not know anything about stomach infrastructure.
For you, what does stomach infrastructure mean?
I was reacting to my party members. My party members were complaining at some point in the course of my administration, around about the third year, that look, the governor is just working, he's building schools, he's tarring roads, he's not tarring our stomachs and all that. You know, typical Nigerian politicians. And I had to call a stakeholder meeting of all party leaders and members and say, you know what, we've got to be really careful about this talk of tarring stomach and not tarring stomach. And somebody stood up in the meeting and said, yes, I have to do something, I have to organize something on the side for the members of the party. And I said, well, I'm doing the best I can. The party members are getting a lot away from what they originally were getting before we got into office. And when they then said, look, let's stop the physical infrastructure. You've tarred so many roads, you've done schools, you've done hospitals. Let's just stop it and concentrate on that. And I said, you know, I don't buy this notion of stomach infrastructure. This was the origin of stomach infrastructure. Of course, many people believe that Fayemi was the one who brought about stomach infrastructure. Now that he says he has a special assistant on stomach infrastructure. He knew nothing about it. He may well believe in that kind of politics of chop I chop and sharing the money of the state to the people without any plan or program. And you can see that 100 days into office, he has not really shared any vision. There is nothing. Well, he's shared a lot of chickens and rice, but 3 months you can't point to one thing that Fayemi has done.
Well, Your Excellency, some people said
I was too elitist.
You were too elitist. You did not connect with the people. You spoke so much grammar, and the people quite didn't understand you. You may have built schools, you may have built hospitals, but you did not connect with the people.
I think it's really unfortunate that in the 21st century Nigeria, you can have people from Ekiti particularly, I don't know about any other state. I don't know about any other state. From Ekiti particularly come up with such a ludicrous argument. But of course, they had to justify the mystery. So one of the ways to justify that mystery was to talk about, you know, it's so hairy-fairy, it's all English and no connection. I was one governor that connected most with the citizens of Ekiti State more than anybody. I meet my people almost on a regular basis. I don't even do budget. Ekiti is the only state I know where budget is based on input from the communities. We don't do budget in Ekiti. In my 4 years in office, I went into every single community and I will ask them, give me your 3 priorities for the year. And they will. And we'll debate, we'll discuss, and say, well, that we may not be able to do, but we'll do number 1 and do number 3, leave number 2 for now. And I didn't stop there. In every community, and there's no community you get to in Ekiti today where you will not find 5 Fayemi projects, at the minimum. No community. And I did not just spend the money on behalf of the people at the state level. I also gave the community, through their towns unions, these funds to go and spend themselves. So when people talk about connection, well, true, I don't go around sitting on the roadside eating bolly with people, because I don't believe that is the best way to empower my people. And I may not be drinking shekwe and beer, alomo, what is it they call it? Alomo bitters and origins in beer parlor every evening with the people. The job of a governor is too serious to be sharing rice and chicken to people queuing up. It's demeaning to my own people. And I find it totally unacceptable to say Ekiti of today. And that is why many people now rubbish us, because of the behavior of the #1 citizen in our state. And I think it's really unfortunate. So I connected very well with my people. Okay. I still connect with my people. Yes, I have had the benefit of a good education. I have no apologies that I can string a few words together in English language, but that in and of itself should not disconnect me from the people. Ekiti people love those who have good education.
Okay, well, we're really running out of time, but what is your political future going to look like?
My political future? You know, I had a day job before. I had a day job before I became governor. But you know, interestingly, my party has not left me alone since I left office. Of course, you knew I had to be the chairman of our convention committee for the primaries that produced General Buhari, and thankfully that went very well. by most accounts at least. I've also, almost immediately after that, been saddled with the responsibility to coordinate the policy framework for the party and the candidates in government, so that we are a government in waiting. We don't want to get to office and start scratching our heads.
What do we do?
Now that we've got the power, what do we do with it? No, so we want to be ready, and we are ready to run Nigerian government competently, professionally, and in the most accountable and transparent manner.
Just as you leave,
yes.
would you say you have any regrets, the way you comported yourself after the election and all that?
Regrets? Well, one is always wise after every event. I mean, you have moments of reflection, and it's only a fool who will say there aren't one or two things that I could have done differently. Maybe I could have been more pedestrian with my... no, seriously. Seriously. Maybe I could have been more pedestrian with my communication strategy.
With your connection?
No. I'm talking communication, not connection. I connected well with my people. I have no apology about that. But I do think
maybe you should have eaten some bole with them.
Well, you need to segment your audience, as you say in communication, and maybe there are things one could do differently.
Okay.
But I was happy that my people gave me the opportunity to serve them for 4 years, and I'm sure that service to those who are committed to it would always find space.
It's okay.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for finding time.
You didn't get to ask me any campaign questions. I was expecting questions on certificate candor. I was expecting questions.
When you come back. When you come back.
But
thank you so
we'd like to present this to you.
Mahmoud.
Yes, it's among justice. I was a guest on the O&M show.
So
please keep it on your table.
No, my coffee mug, everybody.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
We'll take a break, and when we return, Ide Igabo will be joining us.
Millions of people gather all over the world for an encounter from heaven.
Every sick will be healed right now.
Since this young man was born, one side has been blocked, but it popped open right in his service. He can breathe in both nostrils. He is completely healed, Pastor.
Jesus!
Come and experience God's power in another dimension. It's 5 Nights of Glory 2015, a place where impossibilities become possible. Date 19th to 23rd January 2015 at 4:30 p.m. daily. Venue Salvation Ministries, Plot 17, Biro Beach Street, GRA, Phase 1, Port Harcourt. You can also be a part of these services anywhere by attending our local viewing centers or online at 5nog.org. For other inquiries, call +234 700 447 7722. Come.
Glad to know you're still watching the O&M Late Show. And joining us right away is Ide Igabo. Ide is a journalist, media consultant, and programmer. And I'm going to ask him about that last one. Ide, you're welcome.
That's why I'm here tonight. It's all about programming is agenda setting.
Agenda setting.
Welcome, Ide.
Thank you.
Please sit down, Ide.
All right.
So, agenda setting.
Yes.
I knew you as a journalist.
Yeah.
I knew the part about media consultant, media owner, but I didn't know this part about programmer. What are you programming?
You see, take this campaign season, for instance. You as journalists should not just begin and end at reporting what is happening. You should be observant. In 2010, elections were to take place in January. But because the president did not sign the amended electoral bill until August, and therefore monies were not released to INEC, and because of several other reasons, They had to train 360 ad hoc people that would supervise the elections. These are a set of reasons why the elections had to be moved to April 2nd. But April 2nd came. Ballot papers were not here. And people came out to vote only to find that there were no ballot papers. Tahiru Jega had to address the nation and to say that because of the preponderance of opinions expressed by Nigerians, the commission had decided to move the elections by 3 weeks, reschedule the elections by 3 weeks. Again, here we are. Permanent voters' cards have not been circulated to those who should have them. Permanent voters' cards are still being printed in China. We have internally displaced persons in several parts of the north, including Abuja. And yet, journalists are celebrating how preparations are being made for February elections. Is it realistic?
You are very skeptical.
No, that's the question. Listen,
yes, you are very.
It's not skepticism, it's realism. It's reality. Are we going to wait until 2 days to the elections before Tahiru Jega will address the nation again to apologize and to say that INEC is not prepared?
But INEC says they are prepared.
But you and I know that they are not prepared. I just told you.
So what are you suggesting?
No, now the truth of the matter is that these elections cannot realistically, if you want to have free, fair, acceptable elections in February, I don't see it happening.
But
First,
yes.
we have 68 million registered voters. Of that number, INEC claims 38 million permanent cards have been given out to their rightful owners, leaving a balance of 30 million. Of that 30 million, 15 million have still not been brought into the country. Now we have distributed 38 million cards in 3 months. How do you distribute 30 million cards in 2-3 weeks? Everything is pointing to a disaster. That is the truth. And
in other words, what you are saying is that the capacity for INEC, because INEC is giving some kind of assurance that they will be able to go through everything. But what you are saying is that the capacity for INEC to achieve these things is suspect. So would you be saying that the realistic thing to do, according to you, because you are talking about realism, the realistic thing to do will be to move the elections forward? Is that what you are suggesting?
That is not only realistic, but that is what you and I, as journalists, should be championing.
No, but Ide, like Mamode said,
yeah.
INEC has continued to say we are ready. Why are you crying more than the bereaved?
It's not a question of crying more than the bereaved.
Because they are saying that they are ready.
Let me
they have
honest.
looked at all the logistics.
There is no time INEC ever said they were not ready. If elections are tomorrow, INEC will tell you materials have been dispatched to all parts of the country. People will come out to vote on the election day. Materials will not arrive until 5 p.m. We have seen it happen several times. And I thought that we shouldn't even be talking about arrival of materials now or the dispatch of PVCs since 2011. We are in January. Elections are in February. Something is wrong. And nobody is sitting back to actually look at this matter dispassionately because some people are already celebrating victory in an election that has not held.
But a postponement at this time, for some people, they will look at it as being already, if you announce a postponement today, there are people who will think that there's foul play already.
It's not a postponement, but a rescheduling.
What is the
question? What's the time difference that you're looking at? What's the time difference you're looking at?
Elections held in 2010 in April.
Okay. So we should go to April.
We should go to April because we are still within the provisions of the electoral law. so that everybody who should have PVCs will have PVCs. Let them have time to sort out those who are in internally displaced locations across the country. Let them also, in point of fact, work out a realistic system to approach the northeast states, where, for instance, in Borno State, if what they say is true, 27 of the local governments, of the 27 local governments, 20 are in the hands of insurgents. In Yobe, 9 of the 17 local governments are not operating as local governments that they should be operating.
But there's something that is a little amazing, that you have more registered PVC holding voters in the northeast than in the south-south, even with the insurgency.
You see, the truth of the matter is, let us forget partisanship for once. This whole thing is about Nigerians. It's not about the president. It's not about Buhari. It's not about the governors. If there is no country, there won't be a president. Let us look at this issue on the ground. INEC has come out. First of all, let me tell you, INEC committed a blunder when they attempted to create a lot more voting centers in the north than in the south. And this is what I mean by agenda setting. Editorials, newspapers, the mass media made them rescind that decision. Why are we not doing the same thing when all of us know that in February we are all going into trouble?
Ide, let me ask you, do you know the mutual suspicion in the land? You know the tension in the country. This kind of suspension or postponement or rescheduling that you're talking about, could it not be caught in trouble?
Well, it shouldn't.
No. When you look at...
No, let's be honest. As I said, it shouldn't be caught in trouble because the umpire is independent. The umpire should not play to the gallery. You cannot have elections where 68 million people are registered, but only 40, even if 10 million decide to come out.
Yeah, but you know, at times, no matter what they do, there are people who will display apathy, whether you like it or not. Yeah. For instance, in the collection of the PVCs, you know, if you come down to the states, probably where you have one of the worst percentages of people who have collected is in Abia and Anambra State. You know, with due respect to my brother, they are in their, what they call shade. Listen. You know, selling market. You understand?
Excuse me.
You ignore what Mahmoud said and just answer the question.
How they will get out from their shops to go and collect the PVC?
Let me be honest with you. Let me be honest with you. That was because INEC itself didn't do its homework well. Because if it did its homework well, it would not simply declare 2-3 days in one state and say people should go to... Is there any reason why people can still not go the way the exercise started?
Yeah, but it's a continuous process. That's what I
At your convenience, yes, you stroll into the place. Only now, after the president had ordered that all persons who are eligible and have registered must be given their permanent voters cards, has INEC decided to decentralize. And when they say decentralize, what I understand is that people are perhaps going to come to your shop to ask you for your temporary voters card and give you your permanent voters card.
Either we'll leave this here. You know, this your programming thing is going to be
let's come back to it.
No, let's be honest. We have only discussed agenda setting. You asked me what agenda setting is.
We invite you again.
We have only discussed agenda setting.
We invite you.
We have other issues to discuss. No. One of your... Let me be honest.
We invite you again.
Can I just...
Okay, let him have 60 seconds.
Yes, let me just make this.
It has something important.
You had ex-Governor Fayemi.
Yes.
Commit what all politicians are prone to commit. Mandela was 79. This one was 99. This one was so. Were they presidents before? Were they heads of state of their nation? That is the difference. Buhari left office 33 years ago. That is the difference. I mean, this is not partisan politics. But let us discuss as intellectuals.
No. You leave it here. I can assure you that we'll invite you back. Thank you so much.
I've said my piece.
We'll invite you back to this program.
I've said my piece.
We'll leave you with this.
Thank you so much.
I was a guest on the O&M Lateshow.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When we return, we'll be talking Nollywood. And we have a very, very exciting character. Don't go away.
Good luck, Ebele Jonathan.
He assumed office with a vision and a dogged determination to make a difference. Despite daunting challenges which could have destabilized our renewed march to greatness, he has remained steadfast in his quest to deliver the dividends of democracy to all Nigerians. All around us, evidence abound that he is working and enriching the lives of millions of our countrymen and women. Because he is humble and filled with love for our country, he has refused to be distracted. He is the first president of Nigeria to give a documented account of his achievements, and these are yet to be disputed. If he has been able to do so much in just 4 years, let's imagine what he can do with 4 more. Think Nigeria. Vote good luck. This message is brought to you by the Wind of Hope.
You're still watching the O&M Late Show. And now we'll be talking about some issues in Nollywood, about a movie that is in production that promises to transform the way movies are made in Nigeria. We have joining us at this time a movie director and producer and actor himself, Tarila Thompson.
Yeah. You're welcome, Tarila.
Thank you very welcome much. To the seat. Yes.
So tell us about this movie, Tarila, that you've been working on for so long. Yeah. And what we hear in the papers is that millions and millions and millions of naira has been expended trying to get this movie together.
Yeah, we've been filming for the last 4 years because of the enormous challenges and because of the broad baseness of the story we're trying to depict. It's a typical story encompassing the issues of the Niger Delta, restiveness and all that. I just want to start by saying that the Niger Delta sort of epitomizes what Nigeria is. It's just a small Nigeria because you have all the tribes in Nigeria domiciled in the Niger Delta. And until issues of the Niger Delta in terms of the deprivation and all that is resolved, it's like the issues of the country as a whole. Yeah. The issues of the country can never be resolved until you start from the bottom. And that's what this movie depicts. You know, a lot of things have been said about, I'm just being foundational. Yeah. A lot of things have been said about the deprivations in the Niger Delta, mostly politicized and all that. I decided to approach this from my research spread over 2 years. I did documentaries for multinationals and for state governments and all that, and my discoveries were very shocking. And I felt that using my medium as a filmmaker would probably be able to ameliorate the situation.
Tell us what kind of budget that this, because when you talk about 4 years of shooting, 2 years of research, tell us about it, because a lot of people, when we watch these movies sitting at home, we think it's a tea party.
I'm glad you know. When I discuss this movie, I don't just like jumping budgets. I'd like to look at the holistic imports the base. From there, you'll probably be able to summarize what must have gone in and what's, because we are not basing our campaign by virtue of such. For me, that would be very cheap. It's a whole lot, I can tell you. We've been filming for 4 years, yes, because initially we started with in synergy with some production organizations in the UK and the US. And then we continued based on the physical approaches that we had. Yeah, we look at the deprivations, we look at the spillage, the cause of the spillage, we look at the psychological impact on the people, and then we look at the mindset of the 3 tiers of the oil organization or society in Nigeria. The 3 tiers are the government, the host communities, and the explorers, the multinational oil companies. We look at, we projected them from their original mindsets through research. From this movie, you will be able to understand why they reason the way they reason. For me, I'm not looking at the government straight per se now, because we've been delving on that since. I believe that the explorers are not really fulfilling their duties in terms of the social corporate responsibility that they have to their host. Okay. They're not doing that because that's not what is attained in the UK and in the US, where the host community has a primary attention, primary budgetive incentive to accommodate all their basic needs, you know. So that's that host community and company friendship is not here. Yes, it's so just that's where the conflict comes in from.
Okay, maybe we should see a little bit of if our director can let us see a little bit of this movie, because I must confess we have seen a little bit of it, and I wanted to you know, find out you know, how you took it to that level, and you know what is you know, involved in, because it's Hollywood stuff really. Yes. What we saw.
Yes. Yeah, Tarila would take a little bit of the movie, and then because of time, yes, we'll have to thank you for coming.
No, I think yes. I think we are not ready with the movie. But tell us what it took to take this to that level. At least we have seen it. So
just in a minute.
Yeah. Basically, like I said, we shot in segments. We came in with a lot of foreign actors to represent based on the characters. About 20 white guys were brought in here, and then we finished with them. And
but the stunts that we saw, you know, like I was saying, yeah.
Technologically, they also came with the technology.
Oh, they came with the technology.
With swings and ropes, you know, yeah, jumping through oil rigs and jumping and running, doing action sequences with fighter pilot helicopters and all the boat chases. The typical rudiment of the transients with the JTF and the militants and all that was replicated live, and you know, so it is that it was that comprehensive.
Okay, too bad we don't have much time, but of course we will leave you with our mug. Okay, thank you very much. All right, I was a guest on the O&M Late Show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, Tarila. I wish you all the best with the movie.
You too.
When it comes out.
Thank you guys.
And that's our package for tonight. Let's do it again on Friday. I'm Obiora Ido.
And I am Mahmoud Akuga from Abuja, Nigeria's capital.